Hello guys and welcome to another episode of biology. Today we are going to continue on nutrition. We're looking at heterotrophic mode of nutrition. All right, and of course do not forget that this tutorial is brought to you by the O3 Schools JAMB CBT practice application. Okay, you want to pass your JAMB at once, get that application and you are sure to succeed. Look in at our testimonies and be amazed. All right, so and of course we're going to talk about the app in a moment. Let us see a question from the JAMB CBT practice app as it relates to nutrition, heterotrophic nutrition. Okay, so they say here, 2008 question number 15. All right, they say insectivorous plants trap and kill their prey to derive, A says phosphorus, B says calcium, C says nitrogen, D says zinc. Okay, so there are so many other questions on this application that we'll come back to answer at the end of the class and not before, because we believe that we have to give you value first. And after we're giving you value, to answer questions will be the list of your problems. All right, so please download the application, all right, and activate it. The application has all the past questions that you need for all the subjects in the application. So you will not need to go and buy any past question anywhere. Okay, it has a classroom that has lecture notes that have been structured according to the JAMB syllabus. So you don't need to go and be buying textbook. Okay, well, wonderful feature like the question search feature, just like the one we used in searching for these questions under Heterotrophic Nutrition. All right, you can access that feature, which is very, very, very helpful for you to be able to cement your understanding after reading a particular topic. And then, of course, there's a mock challenge every Saturday that is conducted for every student that is writing JAMB for this year. You compete with your mates in a competitive mode. You win a lot of amazing prizes every weekend, and of course there's a scholarship at the end also, but that's not the major purpose of the UTME challenge. The major purpose of the challenge is for you to familiarize yourself with JAMB past questions, JAMB likely exam questions, as well as see your score release every weekend, thereby building your confidence towards the main examination. So please activate it and download and activate it. If you need it for your computer version, it's also available. All right, so just send a message to this number on WhatsApp 09121515246. If you need the computer version, all right, send the message to this number on WhatsApp. We'll send you the link to download for your PC or your computer, the software version. All right, if you have an Android phone, head to Play Store and download it from Play Store. All right, activation is not up to the price of rice and chicken right now as me and you are talking in a good restaurant. So please activate your app and pass your JAMB at once. So let us go to heterotrophic nutrition. So what is heterotrophic nutrition? We say that heterotrophic nutrition is a type of nutrition whereby what organisms depend, okay, on other organisms for what? For food, for survival. Okay, so we say heterotrophic mode of nutrition is a type of nutrition which organisms depend on other organisms for food to survive. Okay, the goal of every organism is to survive. Even you as a man, as you are going up and down, all right, is the major purpose. Okay, first of all is to survive. Okay, so you go to work to get food for your family, you get to work, you go to school so that you can get a good job to provide food for yourself and your family. So it's all for survival. All right, so now heterotrophic mode of nutrition, we call these ones what? Consumers. Okay, organisms that exhibit heterotrophic mode of nutrition, call them consumers. Unlike the autotrophs that we call what? Producers, because they can manufacture their own food, okay, using what? Energy of the sun. Okay, we call those ones what? Autotrophs. Okay, we call them producers. Autotrophs are called producers, but heterotrophs, because they cannot manufacture their own food, they have to be dependent. They have to depend on other organisms for food to survive. We call them what now? Consumers. Now just to chop, okay, to consume. That's what they know. They do not know how to produce, how to manufacture their own food. Okay, so that is what heterotrophic nutrition. Okay, and under heterotrophic nutrition, we'll talk about some other types of nutrition, like Holozoic nutrition, which is the first we are seeing here. Okay, Holozoic. Holozoic. Okay, in Holozoic nutrition, organisms take in complex organic molecules. Okay, they take in complex in Holozoic nutrition. Organisms take in complex organic molecules. Complex organic molecules All right, and then they break it down into simple molecules or into simpler what molecules. All right, and then they what? They digest it. Okay, and then they what? They digest. They digest what? Those molecules. Okay, so the first of all take in what? That take in complex organic molecules. That stage I will call ingestion. Okay, that is ingestion. All right, they take in complex organic molecules. That's a process I will call what? Ingestion. And then what? They break it down into simpler what? Organic molecules. Okay, that is digestion. And then they absorb it into their what? Into their body. Okay, so that is what happens what? In Holozoic mode of nutrition. So in Holozoic mode of nutrition, organism will take in complex organic molecules like carbohydrates, and then they will break it down into what? Simpler molecules like glucose, and then they will digest it. Okay, that is what? Holozoic mode of nutrition. And it is being stated here that it's a type of nutrition which organic matter, that is food, are obtained by ingesting and digesting before being what? Absorbed. Okay, so they therefore ingest it, take it in, they digest it, then what? They absorb what? It. Okay, that is what for Holozoic what? Mode of nutrition. An organism that what? Exhibit type of nutrition is you that are watching this video right now, man, okay, lion, like your dogs, okay, your cows, okay, those are all what organisms that exhibit Holozoic mode of what? Of nutrition. Okay, so they take in complex organic molecules, break it down into simpler organic molecules, and then they what? They digest it. Okay, that is what? Holozoic mode of nutrition. Now, let us talk about saprophytic what? Mode of what? Nutrition. Okay, some places or there are some textbooks, okay, they will say it's saprotrophic. They'll call it saprophytic mode of nutrition, all right? But it's actually what? Saprophytic what? Mode of what? Nutrition, okay? Some people will say what? Saprotrophic. Trophic. This saprophytic mainly what? Talks about what? Fungi. Okay, it deals with what? Fungi only. Okay, so that's what? Saprotrophic. Okay, saprotrophs. They are what? They are fungi. They are mainly what? Fungi. Okay, that feed on what? Dead organic what? Matter. Okay, so but the mode of nutrition that saprotrophs undergo is the saprophytic nutrition. The one we now call saprophytic nutrition. Okay, so now sapro itself means gotten. It means gotten from what? From rotting materials. Okay, sapro itself means what? Gotten from what? From rotting materials. And trophic, you already know that trophic means what? Nutrition. Okay, so saprotrophic means what? Nutrition that is gotten from what? From material that you already get, that is way down the rotty. Okay, so saprotrophic what? Nutrition, okay, is a type of nutrition in which what? Non-green plants, as you can see here, they feed on dead and decaying organic matter. Okay, that's what saprophytic what? Nutrition, a type of nutrition in which non-green plants, because they do not have chlorophyll, all right, they cannot what? Manufacture their own food, all right, they feed on what? On dead and decaying organic what? Matter. Non-green plants, all right, feed on dead, decaying organic matter. And of course, an example, a very common example in our daily life is when you buy bread, for example, in your house, and then nobody eats the bread. Okay, then after some time, all right, you will now see what? Some things growing on top of the bread. Okay, so let's say this is your piece of bread like this. Okay, those that like sliced bread or agege bread. Okay, so now the time will come, you start seeing what? Some things growing on top of the bread. Okay, actually, if you take a microscope and look into those things that are growing on top of the bread, they look like this. This is how they will look like on the microscope. Okay. Okay, this is how they will look like. They'll have what? These thread-like structures. These thread-like structures, we'll say they are what? Thread-like structures. And these thread-like structures, they are called hyphae. Okay, so they have what? Thread-like structures called what? Hyphae. And when these thread-like structures called hyphae come together, we call them what? Now mycelium. Okay, so what the organism do is to release digestive juices on top of what? This dead decaying organic what? Matter or material. Okay, like on top of what? This bread, they release digestive juices, digestive of juices. Okay, on what? On this what? Dead decaying what? Organic what matter. And then they now what? After they are what release what those juices, they now what? They now absorb it into their what? Into their body. So that is how what that is the method that saprotrophs use in gaining water than nutrition. So they feed on dead and decaying organic matter by releasing digestive juices on those what materials and then absorbing it into their body. And basically, it's very good and important to also know that this saprotrophs, okay, or this organism that exhibit saprophytic nutrition, they usually grow in hot and humid conditions. In hot and humid conditions. All right, please take note of that. It's very necessary. If it's not important, I would have told you so. Okay, so please, that is what saprophytic mode of nutrition, a type of nutrition in which non-green plants feed on dead and decaying organic matter. All right, so now let us go to the next one. That is the parasitic mode of nutrition. Okay, for parasites, for example, let us say an armed robber comes to your enemy's house. Okay, so when the armed robber comes to your enemy's house, what does he come to do? Okay, basically is to what? To steal. Abi? So the armed robber now is an example of a parasite. The major purpose of an armed robber is not to come and kill. Okay, it's not to actually come and kill, to come and steal. Okay, if an armed robber actually comes to your enemy's house and then he comes to kill, then of course you know that maybe that one is an assassin. He was sent to kill. Okay, and armed robbers also can also kill. All right, but of course it has to be maybe because there's an altercation, there's trouble. Okay, so he wants to escape by all means, so that he may not resort to violence. But the major reason why an armed robber comes to an enemy's house, okay, or somebody's house, is just to steal. All right. So parasites are organisms. Okay, that are completely dependent. They are completely dependent on another organism for food or for survival, without necessarily killing their host. Okay, without necessarily killing their host. So please take note of that. So parasitic mode of nutrition, a type of nutrition in which one organism is completely dependent on another organism without necessarily killing the host. All right. So please take note of that. All right. We define parasitic mode of nutrition as a mode of nutrition whereby a parasitic organism, that is called parasite, lives on the body surface or inside the body of the host. Okay, so a parasite can live on the body surface, okay, of the host, or can live inside the body of the host. If a parasite lives outside the body, okay, that lives on the body that is outside the body of its host, we call those ones now ectoparasites. Ectoparasites. Okay, and examples of ectoparasites are lice. Okay, we have tick, we have fleas, we have mites. Okay, these ones they are ectoparasites. They live outside the body of the host. Okay, they live outside the body of the host. They do not live inside. Okay, so a parasite that lives inside the body of the host, that one is one we call endoparasite. We call this one endoparasites. Okay, an example of endoparasites are hookworm. Okay, we have tapeworm. And then we have the one we call ascaris. Ascaris. That is what the one we call roundworm. Okay, so these ones they are endoparasites because they live inside the body of the host. Okay, but this one they are ectoparasites because they live outside the body of the host. Okay, they live on the body. Okay, this one they live inside the body of the host. Okay, so those are parasitic that's what parasitic mode of nutrition, a type of nutrition whereby a parasitic organism, parasite, lives on the body surface or inside the body of the host. Okay, then of course we also have parasitic plants. Okay, there are some plants that are parasitic. Okay, an example of that is the relationship between the one we call cuscuta and hysteria. Okay, so there's a parasitic relationship between what these two organisms, these two plants. All right. Now, Cuscuta will put its roots into Wisteria and absorb what nutrient from Wisteria. Okay, so I think Cuscuta is like it's something like this, like thread. Okay, while Hysteria is something like this. Okay, so it is just going to put its roots into Wisteria and be absorbing nutrient from Wisteria. Okay, so these are parasitic plants. They are parasitic plants. Okay. Now also have another example of parasitic plants. Okay, apart from Cuscuta and Wisteria, I also have one called Anodi. The one called Rafflesia anodi. Okay, Rafflesia anodi. Okay, whether there's an E here, forgotten. Okay, Rafflesia anodi. This is another example of a parasitic plant. Anodi is the world's largest flower. The world's largest flower. It's also a parasitic plant. Okay, so now having known all this, we're going to talk about some other mode of nutrition. Of course, there's also symbiotic nutrition also. Okay, where both organisms are benefiting from each other. All right, so I'm sure we have talked about that one in the previous episode. All right, so please ensure that you also add that knowledge to it. So also now let's talk about insectivorous plants. Insectivorous plants. These insectivorous plants, we'll call them carnivorous plants also. Okay, they are either called insectivorous plants, as you can see in your past question evidently. All right, it has been asked in the past question before, so it's also good for us to give it credence. Okay, insectivorous plants. Okay, we'll call them the carnivorous plants. Carnivorous plants. So now, insectivorous plants, they feed on On insects. Insectivorous plants, they feed on On insects. All right. Now, majorly, these insectivorous plants, they feed on insects because they grow on soils that lack nitrogen. Okay, insectivorous plants grow on soil. They grow on soil that lack nitrogen. All right. So because they lack nitrogen, all right, they are plants, so they photosynthesize, okay, but they do not have apart from manufacturing food, getting glucose, okay, plant also would need some other nutrients. Okay, so like nitrogen is one, all right, like we talk about NPK 15, NPK, okay, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. All right, so they need some other nutrients apart from the glucose that they are be able to manufacture from photosynthesis. They need like nitrogen. So for these plants, this insectivorous plant, to be able to get this source of nutrition, that is nitrogen, what they do is that they feed on insects. So insectivorous plants feed on on insects. The leaves of this plant are modified in such a way to be able to trap the insects. Okay, the leaves of the plant are modified in a way so that they're able to trap these insects, release digestive juices on the insect and then absorb it into the body of the plant. Okay, so that is how insectivorous plants operate. An example of those plants is Venus flytrap. An example of those plants is number one, Venus flytrap. Another example is sundew. Okay, and then another example is pitcher plant. Pitcher plant. Okay, we also have, I think, bladderwort. Bladderwort. Okay, so these are all insectivorous plants. So they feed on insects. Their leaves are modified in such a way that they are able to trap the insects, and then they're able to release digestive juices onto them and absorb get their source of nitrogen from those insects. All right, so please take note of that. So insectivorous plants, they feed on insects, and the reason why they feed on insects is so that they can be able to get their nitrogen requirement from those insects. And because why do they need to do that? They do that because they grow on soils that lack nitrogen. So they need to look for a way of getting their nitrogen nutrition, okay? And they get them from insects. All right, so please take note of that. Now, having seen all these, we're also going to talk about some type of animals that we have. We have carnivorous animals, we have herbivorous animals, we have omnivores. Okay, so let's just quickly look at them. All right, to know that carnivorous animals, they feed on on flesh mostly. Okay, carnivorous animals, carnivores. Carnivorous animals. Okay, or this one feed on what? On flesh. Like example, your lion, okay, your dog, okay, your tiger. Okay, so those are what? Carnivores. Okay, they feed on what? On flesh, what? Mostly. All right. Then also we also have herbivores, herbivorous animals. Herbivores. Okay, these herbivores they feed on what? On plants. They feed on plants mainly. Okay, and of course these herbivores are divided into 6 other types. Okay, for example, we have the ones that feed on just what? Fruits. Okay, for example, we have frugivores. Frugivores, they feed on what? On fruits. Okay, we also have granivores. Granivores, they feed on seeds. Okay, we also have nectivores. Nectivores, these are herbivores. So, okay, we have nectivores. All this one, they feed on nectar. Okay, we also have folivores. Okay, folivores, they feed on leaves. We have xylophages. Okay, xylophages. All this one, they feed on wood. And then lastly, we have detritivore. Okay, also they feed on what? On dead plants, on dead plant materials. Okay, they feed on dead plant what materials. Okay, these are all what? Herbivores. They feed on plants. Frugivores feed on fruits. Nectivores feed on nectar. Granivores feed on seeds. Folivores feed on leaves. Xylophages feed on wood. Detritivore rather feed on dead plant what? Materials. All these are what? Are herbivores. Then lastly, we'll talk about what's it called again? We'll talk about omnivores. Okay, omnivores will feed on both plants and animals. Okay, they feed on both plants and animals. Okay, they feed on both plant and animal. Like example, you, man is an omnivore. Okay, feed on what? Both plant and what? An animal. Deer, all right, and the likes. Okay, those are all what? They're all what? Omnivores. They're all omnivores. They feed on both plants and animals. Then, of course, we'll talk about also insectivorous what? Animals. Okay, insectivorous animals. Insectivorous animals are animals that feed on what? On insects. Insectivorous animals. Those ones, they feed on what? On insects. They feed on insects. Insectivorous animals. Let's look at those ones. They feed on insects. Insectivorous animals. Okay, they feed on what? On insects. Okay, an example of what? Of these insectivorous animals are the ones you have running around your home. One is what? Is wall gecko. Okay, another one is what? Is mice. Okay, another one is the one we call pangolin. Okay, and then another one we have what? Okay, is heron among them. Okay, no, let me just this ones I'm very sure. Then wall gecko, mice, and pangolin. All these are examples of what? Of insectivorous what? Animals. All right. They also have one we call piscivorous. Piscivorous animals, so they feed on fishes. Okay, they feed on fishes. We call those one piscivorous. Okay, they feed on what? On fishes. Okay, example is what? Is crocodile. Crocodile. Okay, another one is what? Okay, heron is what? Is a piscivorous what? Animal. Okay, so please take note of what? All of this. We'll talk about heterotrophic nutrition in wide what? View. Talk about what's parasitic, saprophytic, insectivorous plants, insectivorous animals. Okay, carnivores, herbivores, omnivores. Okay, we'll talk about we'll treat light or what? On symbiotic nutrition. All right, so please, all these are what are necessary in what? In the JAMB syllabus. Okay, so please ensure what you put your mind to them. Okay, so now let us go to the O3 School JAMB CBT Practice app, answer some questions, and we are out of here. This is 2019 question number 8. It says the type of nutrition in which two organisms of different species live together and derive nutrient from each other. They live together, derive nutrient from each other. Symbiotic relationship is the correct answer. Okay, symbiotic means what? Living together. It means living together. Okay, so they say the type of nutrition in which two organisms, different species, live together and derive nutrients from each other is what? A, symbiotic nutrition, which is very correct. No need to go to other options. 2016 number 26, they say the most suitable medium for the growth of saprophytic organisms is what? A say in an environment without moisture. B says on other living organisms. C say and on inorganic substances. D say on decomposing materials. Correct answer is what? Option D, on decomposing material. And they grow on what? On hot and humid what? Places. Okay, places that are what? Hot and humid. All right. So let's see another question. 2001 number 45. They say for heterotrophic organisms, competition is least caused by inadequacy of A says nutrients, B say light, C say space, D say mates. Okay, and of course, the correct answer there is what to be correctly what light, because for autotrophs, light is very, very important. Okay, but for heterotrophs, light is not one of the major problem. Okay, heterotroph may be in competition with what? Nutrients. They want to get nutrients. Okay, they want to get their nutrition. B, C for space. Okay, heterotrophs need space. They may fight for space. D, mates. They may fight for what? Mate. But C, light. No, because those are majorly for autotrophic nutrition. So let us see one more question. 2008 number 15 says insectivorous plants trap and kill their prey to derive what? Correct answer is nitrogen, as you can see from option C. All right, so please ensure you download the application, ensure you activate it, and ensure you are studying your way to success so that you can pass your JAMB exam at once. See you in the next episode. My name remains Master T, the Grand Commander of this army. Thank you for joining us.